Hello, that's gonna be an episode about LBRP, what it is, what it does, and yeah, let's just jump right into it. When you do the ritual, you first perform the Kabbalistic cross, then you draw 4 pentagrams around yourself. So you have earth, fire, air, and water pentagrams. Each pentagram represents 5 elements as balance, and when you banish from earth to spirit. When you invoke, you do it from spirit to earth, every pentagram. What differs is that you do different names, different archangels. And that's basically it. I won't describe it in detail. You can check out the book in the description. It has the whole ritual and the progression of it, being the middle pillar. And I'm just gonna talk about my experiences with it and what I think about it, because many people say how great it is, but I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that many people leave out on the table the things this ritual is tough for. This ritual is very powerful, and if you're not ready for it, it might fuck you up. But first, let's talk a little bit what is the Kabbalistic cross. Unto thee be the kingdom and the power and the glory forever, amen. That's a Jewish prayer, and what you're basically doing before the ritual, you're doing the Kabbalistic cross, and at the end you do to get the energy that you put out there into yourself back. What I was doing that basically I would have those 4 archangels that would put their fingers and they would help bring light on top of my head. So you vibrate everything and you say it in Hebrew, Ateh, and when you do Ateh, you visualize a brilliant sphere of light on top of your head. Then you go Malkuth and the same thing but at your feet, but it's black or green or in 4 colors, how Malkuth is here in 4 colors. And what you're basically doing is you're creating a cross, so you're creating a tree of life onto your body with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sephiras. And this cross looks like that, like a brilliant white light that crosses your body and brings balance into your nepesh, which is like your astral body. So the effects of it are that by the vibratory means you kind of change your frequency, and the frequency is how your consciousness operates, because emotions are also frequency. So if you're in a low vibratory state, you might experience something like anger, like resentment, fear, and as you raise higher on the frequency scale, you realize that, well, now it's love, peace, joy, and at the highest we say enlightenment, but some say that enlightenment is actually just authenticity. In the Golden Dawn tradition, from which this ritual originates, the first grade, so the last that you will achieve in their order, was ipsismus, which literally means that which is himself. So enlightenment, authenticity, kind of the same thing. It kind of asks you what you are at the core, what you are as the fragment of God, and can you express it fully, without any hesitation. Okay? So that's an excerpt from Michael Greer book about what the ritual does. I'm gonna read it to you and add my thoughts. In its banishing mode, by far the most common in practical use, the lesser ritual of the pentagram is often treated as a purely protective or defensive technique, and the pentagrams and circles traced around the area are seen as a barrier against hostile forces. Okay, so it's not what he thinks the ritual does, that's very important, but that's what you will hear that the ritual does. While there is some truth to this concept, the pentagrams and circle with practice form a tangible presence on the etheric level. It is more useful. Let me just stop that. on the etheric level, from my experience, let's imagine that you are here on this earth, on this material plane, but it's not all that is. That there might be planes that you don't see, like emotional plane or intellectual plane, where there are concepts, where there are feelings, where there are waves, where there is energy, but it's not visible through your normal senses. You need to develop those psychic senses to experience those more subtle planes of existence. And when you perform the LBRP, what you're basically doing is you're lighting your etheric body with light, so it can grow stronger, it can crystallize, first of all, so that it's accessible for you in every moment of your life. What comes from that is your etheric body is very moon-like, and moon resonates with emotions, intuition, so those faculties will increase as you do the ritual. But there are also many parasitic entities that will see you walking, because if your etheric body, let's say, is not crystallized, they kind of can't touch you, or it's harder for them to see you. But when you light yourself up with light, that's like, oh, there's an object, we can fly up to it. When there is summer and there are those fucking mosquitoes and you put out the light, they all fly to it. Imagine this like that. Demons, that's a very interesting word. D mean negative, mon, again, moon, emotions. Negative emotions being demons. But that's not that all that they are. They are certainly there is certainly part of that being them. It is more useful to think of the pentagram ritual as a way of establishing balance at either a raised or lowered level of energy, which effects that extend beyond the limits of the traced circle. So what you're basically doing with the ritual is you're creating those 4 pentagrams, and each one corresponds to different part of yourself, being different element. And when you externalize them, you are able to look at them like a scientist. So now you can see, oh, my air element is out of balance because I'm seeking too much emotion, because I have too much ego. I'm too willing to put other people's down for the success of myself. Or you might say, well, my fire is so powerful that I experience burnout quite a lot. So you might decrease the fire or increase the water. That's what this ritual does. But in truth, it actually makes everything worse. So that it basically is like the dog that is sitting on a chair and his home is burning, and he says it's okay. That's what this ritual does. But the thing to work out the problems of this ritual is to say, oh fuck, my home is burning, I gotta run. Affrontedness. You need to be eager to face the problems that arise, because they will amplify themselves, because whatever there is inside of you will get magnified and you will have to take care of it. Otherwise, it will rain havoc across your life. The banishing form of the ritual then decreases the amount of energy present and at the same time imposes balance on it. A process that is highly disruptive to a hostile entity or a magical attack. Oh, okay, so demon, negative emotion. When this seed that is in your garden and it bloomed already and it's like this flower that you can't, that smells terribly, but it is there and you have to take care of it, etc. When this flower sees that you're going with the shovel to take it out, it might start to freak out. Maybe the flower is not the best example, but you got the point. It might start to freak out because it's like, oh, I'm about to die, so it will become more hostile because it's more disruptive to it. So anything that is about to die just gets freaked out and starts acting out. That's basically what I told you, that your problems will get worse because they will be like, oh, I'm about to die, I better start fucking with the host so that I persevere. But that also has a range of other possible uses, many of which have nothing to do with this sort of protective work. What this ritual does as well is it teaches you the basics of magic. It teaches you how to draw energy through your crown, what is the special way of pronouncing words, so vibrating or invoking. It also teaches you visualization skills, because you have to see the 4 pentagrams, you have to see the angels. When you draw the tree onto yourself, you have to see all that, okay? I've heard some people talk about archons or demiurge being invoked when you do the ritual. Why is that? In the secret book of John, Jesus said that Abraham made the deal with the evil god that is a false god, but thinks he is the real god, and he created the reality on which we live. His name is Yaldabaoth. He is a creation made without a consent of the monad being the highest god in that story. And we're basically trapped in this reality that is a false reality. And when you're working with the LBRP, one of the names you invoke is Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, being the Holy Tetragrammaton. From one perspective, it is just 4 words, 4 elements, 4 words of Kabbalists, should I say. And there's not much more to it, but from another point of view, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh is the god of the Old Testament. And when you look how this god behaved, he was jealous, he was angry, he was wreaking havoc, he was killing people. It's not a very, very, very good god, isn't it? And many claim that angels like Michael, Raphael, Gabriel are all his archons, which are like evil angels of the demiurge. There might be something true to it. I'm not saying there isn't. I more so view it as angels don't care about you in a way. They care about spiritual evolution, they care about fulfilling the will of God. So when you work with these angels and then you don't do the work that you know you should be doing, they will impose on you negative emotions, they will impose on you more problems, because you're basically putting spotlight on yourself and you're saying, give me power so that I can fulfill my destiny. Okay, but now you gotta fulfill your destiny. That's like raising the difficulty of the game. Are you ready to raise the difficulty, or will you crumble under pressure? What happens as well is that the energy that is like a coiled serpent at the base of your spine gets raised through the practice. And if you have any troubles with sensuality or with security, then this energy that gets that goes up your spine gets tainted in a way, because it's a forceful way of unlocking your chakras. That's why Kundalini is dangerous, because Kundalini is concerned with uniting Shakti, being the feminine energy, and Shiva, being the masculine cosmic energy that comes to your crown. And when you're not doing normal chakra work, when you're not going slow, when you're working with the middle pillar ritual, which is powerful, it's the next after the LBRP, This energy raises up your spine, and if it gets contained, then you're gonna have problems. If you don't feel secure, your ajna will start making shit up. It will see all the problems, and it will be hard to control your mind because there is stress coming onto your brain. That's like what happens, so beware. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so if you still want to go with the ritual, learn it and strengthen the effects of it, there are some tools that you should use, most certainly. Like, you should use tarot, because tarot, the minor arcana is about the 4 elements, and the major arcana relates to the paths on the tree of life. And the tree of life, you have to know as a practicing Kabbalist, you have to know as a ritual magician. There's no other way around it. Kabbalah is just the tool that we use in ceremonial magic. And when you look at, for example, at the strength card, I picked it up because that's basically the path that is being activated inside of you when you do the Kabbalistic cross. And this card relates very strongly to, do you have a grace and mercy in order to tame the beast, in order to use that beastly energy that is inside of you? That's what this card is asking you. You see, there's a infinity sign saying infinite strength comes from pure intention to close the mouth of the beast in order to use it and not be used by it. There's no other way of arguing that we are mammals, that we are animals at some level, at the very least. And do you use that energy for good? Do you use the fact that you are an animal at like your base core? Or are you being used by it? Are you letting the desires control your life? That's what this card asks. When you align your desires with your will, that's where the true power comes from. Because aligned will with desires is the tool that is able to create the reality that you want. That's like the most powerful tool of the magician. Because this crossing path is more so knowledge, it's less force, which be this triangle, it's more so knowledge, understanding, it's more so influence, while this is pure brute force to get what you want from the reality. So study Kabbalah and Tarot if you want to go with this ritual. Another things that will be very useful in our path is journaling. Whatever comes, write about it. Because when you write about something, you get a certain kind of dominion over it. So it doesn't have this grasp over you. You are externalizing it and materializing it through the use of words. Good deeds. Why would I do good deeds if I want to be a powerful magician? Well, many occultists that go with the left-hand path or just perform the things experience some kind of wickedness of the heart. That was at least what happened to me, and when you look at some very renowned occultists, that's exactly what happens to them. That their life becomes worse. And I wanted to read you that. This rule states, for every single step that you take in seeking knowledge of hidden truths, you must take 3 steps in perfecting your character toward the good. My teacher told me after I said, well, I'm in this dark place right now, or I did all of that work, etc., etc. He told me, why don't you go and do some charity work? Why don't you spend time with animals? Why don't you spend time in nature with people? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And he said, you won't believe how good can you feel in a month. And that's basically what happened. I did all of that, and now my heart feels like it has water inside of it, feels like it has essence back, which it was lacking. I felt like my heart was empty, but that most certainly was due to my workings with the Lilith. So, going back, if you decide to read the book that I recommend in the description, don't do the thing that that Michael recommends, which is going through the negative powers. You don't have to meditate on Lilith to understand Malkuth. When you invoke parts of your shadow, you're willingly open yourself up to those tough emotions, tough influences. It's not necessary, and it might fuck your life, because those are powerful forces. And Lilith certainly fucked up my life. So, yeah, beware of that. And when you do the great work, those dark forces will come to you anyways. So why invoke them on purpose? Just a food for thought. Time. Yeah, you need time, because you will need to journal, and you will need to get rid of the bad characteristics you have inside of yourself. You need to be willing to change. Affrontedness is your word when you do magic. Resources, kingdom, relationships, security. Okay, so kingdom and security relate kind of to the same thing, because what you're basically doing with the ritual, another thing, is you're invoking your higher self, but you realize that your higher self is just you. And if you want the king to sit on a throne, it needs first a kingdom to take care of. Because without the kingdom, this powerful ruler does not have a thing to do in reality. You might say, come here, be there for betterment of my life. Okay, but do you have anything to rule over? Relationships. Many tough emotions will resurface. Many traumas will come back to you, just so you can resolve them. And I have found that one of the best things to resolve trauma is talking to others. So that's why I included relationships. Security, yeah, that's the chakra example. What else? That's it. So thank you for listening. If you would be interested in getting a reading, that's one reading that I do. You have another in my coffee page. That's it. Thank you for listening.